This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, in today's class, I'm going to discuss Fourier series in detail. Those who are absent and those who are not clear about the topic, or those who are having any difficulty in understanding the concept, just for them, this particular class will be useful. Just to go to this Fourier series representation of periodic signals. Now try to understand. So when I say Fourier series representation of periodic signals, as we already discussed in the previous class, the differences between Fourier series and Fourier transform. There we observed that Fourier series is used for approximation or signal approximation, and it can be applied only for periodic signals. Now try to understand. When I say a signal is said to be a periodic signal, what is the condition it should satisfy? So the simple condition is, already we studied this in the first unit, is any signal or any function x of t is said to be periodic. It has to satisfy x of t plus capital T equal to x of t, where capital T is the period of the signal. Now, observe this, we'll understand. Now, we defined a continuous time signal x of t to be periodic if there is a positive non-zero value of t for which x of t plus t equal to x of t. This is the condition for all t. And here small t is varying from 0 to 0, pi, 2 pi, so on up to infinity. And capital T is the period of the signal. So any signal or any function is said to be periodic. It has to satisfy the condition x of t equal to x of t plus capital T. X of t equal to x of t plus capital T. And the fundamental period, which we can call it as t naught, which we can denote it as t naught of x of t. And this fundamental period is nothing but which is the smallest positive value of t. So please try to understand for which this above equation is satisfied. That is what the meaning is. That means, let us say if I have a waveform which is starting from 0 and it will vary up to infinity, and it is repeating after 2 pi, that means the fundamental period for that is 2 pi. That means the same waveform is repeating. That is the smallest positive value. Again, the next value is 4 pi, then 6 pi, then 8 pi, like that. So that's how the smallest positive value of t for which the above this equation x of t plus capital T is equal to x of t is satisfying, then we can call it that period as the smallest, that duration as the fundamental period. And we have the relation for time period and frequency. We know frequency I can write it as 1 by time, and 1 by t naught I can write it as f naught. And this f naught, which we can call it as fundamental frequency. And please try to understand, fundamental frequency is nothing but the small, since the smallest time positive value will gives you the largest frequency, right? So when you consider the frequency, since t is small, then frequency is large. So fundamental frequency component is the one which is having the highest component, highest frequency term when compared with the when compared with different values of t. So these periodic signals, uh, here there are we can represent these periodic signals in two ways. We'll consider two basic examples of periodic signals. One is the real sinusoidal signal, and the other one is the complex signal. So real signal means we may represent sinusoidal signal. I can write it as sine omega naught t plus phi or cos omega naught t plus phi. Now try to understand, this phi is the phase variation part, and omega is the frequency component. T is the time period. T is the independent variable which is represented on x-axis. X of t is the variable which is represented on y-axis, right? And now, if it is in terms of sine and cos, this is one way we can represent the periodic signal. And the other way, which I can also write this cos omega naught t in terms of exponentials. That is, cos omega naught t I can write as e power j omega naught t plus e power minus j omega naught t by 2. Similarly, sin omega naught t I can write as e power j omega naught t minus e power minus j omega naught t by 2. So I can also represent the cos and sine, which are real, can be represented in terms of exponentials or in terms of complex exponentials. You know why we call this complex exponential? Since we have j, this j is because of that j, we call it as the complex. So e power j theta you can write as cos theta plus j sin theta, right? So we'll get a cos value. So we'll get a complex value. So I can represent this x of t, which is equal to e power j omega naught t. This we can call it as the complex exponential signal. Now, please try to understand why I am discussing this periodic signal. So any signal which is varying with which is periodic in nature, it has to satisfy this condition, that is x of t plus capital T equal to x of t. And these periodic signals can be represented in two ways. One is the real part of representing that, and another one is complex form of representing that. So if it is real, I can use either sine or cos equation, like x of t equal to sine omega naught t plus phi or cos omega naught t plus phi. And if it is an exponential, I can write e power j omega naught t, or I can also write e power minus j omega naught t. And based on these two periodic, based on the way that we are representing this, your Fourier series came into existence. Please try to understand. If I use sine or cos, I can call it as, since sine and cos, they are trigonometric functions, so that if the function which is represented in terms of sines and cos, then we can call it as trigonometric Fourier series. Suppose if I represent the function in terms of exponentials like this, e power j omega naught t or e power minus j omega naught t, something like that, then I can call that as complex exponential Fourier series, or simply exponential Fourier series. Now here omega naught, which you can write it as 2 pi by t in general, 2 pi by t naught. 1 by t naught I can write as f naught. 1 by t naught I can write it as f naught. And this you can call it as the fundamental omega naught, which you can call it as the fundamental angular frequency. I hope this slide is clear to you. Is this particular slide is clear to you? Please post it in the chat box. Is the concept of periodic signal and the classification of signals in periodic sense, is it clear? Yeah, good. Yeah, right. Thank you. Now I am going to discuss the complex exponential Fourier series. Now, please try to understand. Now, in the previous class, we discussed the trigonometric Fourier series. Now, in today's class, I'm focusing more on complex exponential Fourier series, or simply exponential Fourier series. Now, try to understand the complex exponential Fourier series representation of a periodic signal x of t with fundamental period t naught is given by, now observe this, x of t equal to sigma k equal to minus infinity to plus infinity ck e power jk omega naught t. So please try to understand this. Earlier when we are discussing with trigonometric Fourier series also, the moment when you write the trigonometric Fourier series with a fundamental period t or t naught, we can write x of t equal to a naught or a naught by 2 plus sigma n equal to 1 to infinity a n cos n omega naught t plus b n sin n omega naught t, something like that we have written. So there we use n, but here we use the variable k. That's the only difference. And for exponential Fourier series, we represent x of t, which you can write it as sigma k equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. Now observe these limits. Here it covers the entire spectra starting from minus infinity to plus infinity, and which you can write it as ck e power j k omega naught t. So the moment when you consider different values of k, correspondingly you will get different values of this ck. And k also accordingly this based on the value of k, your fundamental frequency component is also changing. And omega naught, which you can also which you can write it as 2 pi by t naught. Now here this ck, which we can call it as complex Fourier coefficient, where there we use a naught, an and bn, we call it as trigonometric Fourier coefficients. But here ck, we can call it as complex, since we are using complex term e power j omega t. So we call this as complex exponential Fourier coefficient. And this complex exponential Fourier series coefficient, which you can calculate using this formula. Now try to understand how we can write this. So it's a simple thing. Just you multiply both sides with e power minus jk omega naught t. The moment when you multiply both sides with e power minus jk omega naught t, this e power jk omega naught t and e power minus j omega naught t gets cancelled and it becomes 1. So you will have only ck, and x of t, you are going to have e power all this. Now, when you consider this summation, now from this you can write ck equal to the summation. I can also treat it as, if it is discrete in the sense, if the components are discrete in the sense, I can treat it as summation. And this summation is similar to integration, as I already told you this when you're solving the problem in the first unit. That means how it is summation and integration are similar. Please see, when you consider an integration over the limit 0 to t, what you're doing, you are finding the area under that. Similarly, if you consider summation over 0 to t, what you're doing, you are taking n number of samples in between 0 to t and you're calculating it. So it is nothing but the summation and integration are similar terms. So when you consider this, when you represent this, I can replace this with integration over 0 to t. So integral 0 to t dt, if you write that, you can write as t naught, and this part you can write it as t naught. And if you integrate on the other side, so then the moment when you integrate on the other side, the moment when you integrate on the other side, it becomes this equation ck, which you can write as 1 by t integral 0 to t x of t e power, this plus becomes minus now, since you are taking this to the other side. So this is how you're going to find this the complex coefficient, where integral t naught 0 to integral t naught, this is the integral period. You can calculate this integral either 0 to t naught or minus t naught by 2 to t naught by 2. And now these are the, since you know, this we already discussed in the last class also. When you say a signal which is existing over a period t, I can write that period as 0 to t, or I can write minus t by 2 to t by 2. So these are the two possibilities for the representing the period t. Now, if we set k equal to 0 in this equation, then automatically what will happen? Let us see. Then if you substitute k equal to 0, then it becomes c naught, which you can write as 1 by t integral 0 to t naught x of t. The moment when you substitute k equal to 0, e power 0 you can write as 1. So this gives some constant. When you integrate with x of t and you simplify it, you get some value. This is a constant value, which indicates the DC value or the average value. When you substitute k equal to 0, which you are going to get the DC value or the average value. This is similar to your A naught in the trigonometric Fourier series. Now, if x of t is real, then I can write there is a relation. Suppose I can write, if we take the complex conjugate of this, then I can write ck star is the complex conjugate, which is nothing but c minus k. This is a, if x of t is real, you can use this. So this asterisk denotes the complex conjugate. So sometimes when I use complex conjugate also, when you write the complex conjugate, what will happen? Now try to understand. If you write complex conjugate, then e power jk omega naught t, the complex conjugate of e power jk omega naught is e power minus jk omega naught t. So then in such case, I can write ck as ck star, and this ck star is nothing but c minus k. That means you are going to have all the values from minus infinity to negative interval you are going to get. So that is how you will use this c minus k relation. Now please try to understand the concept of complex exponential Fourier series. So here the only thing that we are going to define is, I'll tell you how you got this. It's a simple technique. Already we studied trigonometric Fourier series. From that, you are going to derive this very easily. I'll show that in the next slides. Now observe it. We already discussed the trigonometric Fourier series in the last class with some mathematical function x of f of t like this: a naught plus sigma n equal to 1 to infinity, a n cos n omega naught t plus b n sin n omega naught t. This equation is the Fourier series of a trigonometric Fourier series. Please try to understand this. Now what I'm doing is, I'm going to write this cos n omega t and sin n omega t in terms of exponentials. Then cos n omega t, I can write it as e power j n omega t plus e power minus j n omega t by 2. Similarly, sin n omega t, I can write it as e power j n omega t. Sorry, there is a mistake here. Please, please modify the sin omega t minus sin e j n omega t by 2j. So minus e power minus by 2. So when you write this here, it is not plus, it is minus. Note down. Please change the correction. The same thing I copied here. That's here also, because of that you will get it. Now what that means, we are going to find complex coefficient, and this just place of cos n and sin n omega naught t with e power j n omega t minus this plus. This is not plus. Please try to modify it. It is minus e power j n omega t minus e power minus j n omega t by 2j. So when you write that, then what you have to do is, you have to separate the exponential terms, that is e power j n omega terms separately, e power minus j n omega t terms separately. And when you do all that, now now observe it. Here we'll have e power j n omega t term, and here we have e power minus j n omega t term, like that. And when you substitute this, now you separate e power j n omega t and e power minus j n omega t terms. Now it looks like this. See. So when you substitute it, your Cn is half an minus jbn, half an minus jbn when n greater than 0. That means what I'm doing is, just I'm substituting this. I'm substituting this e power j n omega t term. I'm substituting this e power j n omega t term. Then it becomes an plus bn by an minus jbn by 2. So that is multiplied with e power j n omega t. Now, if you plot e power j n omega t, you are going to plot the exponential graph e power j theta, and for all positive values, it is going to rise from 0 to infinity. So similarly, e power minus j n omega t on the other side, which is the decaying exponential signal, that you already know. Rising e power j n omega t is the rising exponential signal, e power minus j n omega t is the decaying exponential signal. Now, when you substitute that, then you are going to get, I'm going to replace this an minus jbn term, an minus jbn into half as cn, and an plus jbn term also cn. And when n equal to 0, you will get when you substitute n equal to 0, that means what will happen? If you add it, and then automatically you'll get 2c0, and this becomes 1. So you'll get your a0. So please try to understand, your c0 is nothing but a0. And similarly, an plus jbn when n less than 0. That means try to understand, when for positive values of n, you are going to get Cn, which is an minus jbn by 2. For negative values of n, your Cn is an plus jbn by 2. So that means, observe it, I'll have the spectrum for Cn. My Cn is existing for n greater than 0, which means that 0 to infinity, and it is existing for 0 also. When n equals 0, it is a0, and if n less than 0, it is an plus jbn by 2, which means that I'll get from minus infinity to 0. So that means the entire it covers the entire spectra, starting from minus infinity to plus infinity, so that I can write that minus infinity to plus infinity, this equation like this. Now you please observe it here. Just I use e power minus jn omega t or e power jn omega t. Either you have to use only one term. Here when you use e power minus jn omega t, then in such case, here you have to use e power jn omega t, since you are considering positive part, or you can write c minus n e power minus jn omega t. That is also okay. C minus n you have to write then. So from that you can write, you can find Cn. So you please change this. This is e power jn omega t. It is not e power minus, it is e power plus jn omega t. So from this you can calculate. Now observe this equation. Now you can understand. This equation is same as that. Instead of ck, we have Cn. Instead of e power jn, we have jk. So that k is the variable here. There n is the variable. That is the only difference. N number of harmonic components you are going to get there. Here you are going to get k number of harmonic. So the same equation you are going to derive from the trigonometric Fourier series only. Please try to understand that. So this is how you are going to get this. Up to this, the concept is clear. Please post it in the chat box. Is the concept clear up to now? If you have any queries, please post it in chat box also. If you have any difficulty, or if you face any difficulty also, we'll see that. Up to now, the concept is clear. The concept of complex exponential series is clear. Please post it in the chat box, dear students. Are you facing any difficulty in understanding this? Just we'll start with trigonometric Fourier series, that sine and cos in terms of exponentials, and we'll rearrange it to replace this. That's what. And once after rearranging that, we'll get exponential series or complex exponential Fourier series. Yeah, good, Monica and Nikita, Deepika, good. Yeah, then after that, we discuss trigonometric Fourier series. This we already know. Now observe it. Just we use a0 by 2 sigma k equal to 1 to infinity. This is what already we discussed. Now observe it. These are the formulas, you can coefficients which you can calculate in the trigonometric Fourier series. Already we discussed that in the previous class. Now we can relate these coefficients ak, bk by complex terms like this. Now your a0 by 2 is nothing but c0, and your ak is nothing but ck plus c minus k. Now please try to understand what is the ck plus c minus k. Ck plus ck, that means it is covering on positive part, and c minus k is on the negative part. So, and if you use this ck and c minus k, this is real, then you are going to get, since ak is multiplied with cos is a real function, right? So that's the reason for ak you need to have this. And now observe this bk. For bk, you are going to have j into ck minus c minus k. So now please try to understand how you got this, right? Please see, we have Cn in the last slide. We derived Cn, which is an minus jbn by 2, and Cn, this you can write as c minus n. An plus jbn by 2, which you can write as c minus n. So from this I can also write, since n less than 0, which means that it will cover all the negative values. This means it will cover only all the positive. That's the reason we use Cn and c minus n. In some books they use that notation. So now ck, now observe it, the same formula, an minus jbn by 2. Now observe it, ak minus jbk by 2. This is what your ck. And c minus k means you replace this. Now you take the complex conjugate of this. When you take the complex conjugate of ak minus jbk, it is ak plus jbk. That's nothing but that is nothing but this one. So you will get C minus N or C minus K. So C minus K, but don't worry, CK or CN, it all varies from books to, one book to other book. Whether you can follow either CN here also, or you can use CK. It's no, there is no wrong in that. But when you use variable, your summation also with the same variable. Observe it. The moment if you use K here, here also use summation K. If I have the summation N, here also I use N. That is the only difference. Please try to understand that. CK, which you can write it as 1 by 2 AK minus JBK, and C minus K, I can write it as 1 by 2 AK plus JBK. Now, the moment when you add these two, what will happen? Since JBK and minus JBK gets cancelled, so you will get half plus half becomes 1. Then you will get your AK is equal to CK plus C minus K. That is how you will get this AK term. Now, if you subtract this, if you subtract CK with C minus K, then what will happen? Please see. Then when you subtract it, here you will get C. When you subtract this, CK minus C, then it becomes 1 by 2. This and this gets cancelled. You will get minus JBK minus JBK. So from that you will get minus 2. So minus 2J. And you take this minus 2 on the other side, then it becomes, from that you will get the relation for BK. So is it clear? That means there is a technique. Please try to understand. Please try to understand. When I can write the relation, if I know the trigonometric series, I can find the exponential Fourier series. If I know the exponential Fourier series, even I can find the trigonometric Fourier series. That means with if I know these relations, automatically you can calculate using this. If I know CK, I can calculate AK and BK, which is AK and BK is nothing but trigonometric Fourier series. If I know AK and BK, I can calculate CK and C minus K, and which is nothing but exponential Fourier series. So either way, either you can calculate, if I know the relation between one series with the other with respect to other series, I can find the other series very easily. So that's how this concept is very useful to you. Now, if x of t is real, then we have an equation like this. So here, if an x of t is real, then you will get, since ck and c minus k both are real, ck and these are both are real, then your AK is nothing but 2 times of the real part. And now when you when it is real, this becomes this part becomes imaginary. So 2 times of imaginary you are going to get. So that's how you now this we'll see this even and odd. Already we discussed this even and odd, but again I'm going to discuss if you have any clarification or if you have any difficulty in understanding that. So if you observe even and odd signals, when I say a function is said to be an even function, it has to satisfy the condition x of t is equal to x of minus t. That is the condition for an even signal or an even function. If a function is an odd function or an odd signal, I can write x of t equal to minus of x of minus t, or x of minus t equal to minus of x of t. So this is the condition for the even and odd function. If a periodic signal x of t is even, then bk equal to 0. That means you don't find sine term for an even function. So, and the Fourier series will have a0 by 2, that is the DC or the average value. This a0 by 2 is nothing but the DC or average value, and ak cos omega t. This is since cos is an even function, this will be there. And if x of t is an odd, then ak is 0. When I say ak is 0, even k equal to 0, it becomes, when k equal to 0, then it becomes a0, right? So That's the reason when x of t is odd, ak equal to, so both a naught and ak terms will not be there. Since odd function, it will, as you know, sin, cos is an even function, right? Sine is an odd function. So for when it is an even function, it will have a naught and ak. When it is an odd function, it will have only sine term. It will not have cos and this average or the DC value. Please try to understand the difference between even and odd signals in a single slide. So, and omega naught, which you already know, which you can write as 2 pi by t or 2 pi by t naught. Then, now coming to the other form of the Fourier series, which you can call it as harmonic form or the alternative form. So the harmonic form or alternative form of Fourier series can be represented when represented for a periodic signal x of t with fundamental period t naught, which you can write c naught and sigma k equal to 1 to infinity ck. Now observe this cos k omega naught t minus theta. Now here, I'm not going to write the term sine, or you may not, you may write even instead of cos, you may write sine also, but you don't have both the terms here. So this form of representing that thing is known as harmonic form of representing the Fourier series or alternative form of representing the trigonometric Fourier series. So because of this phase, you may sometimes you may get if the, suppose let us say if it is theta, it looks like, observe this, it looks like cos of a minus b, that you can write it as cos a cos b minus sin a sin b, or sorry, plus sin a sin b. So automatically, based on this value of theta, sometimes this may not exist, and sometimes based on this value, so sin may not, based on the value of theta, may not exist. So you will get cos and sin. That is how you use this notation, which you can call it as the harmonic form. And the term C naught, which you can call it as the DC component, and the term CK cos of this is referred as the kth harmonic component. Since we consider cos k omega naught t, right? So because of that, CK we are using. So you're calculating the kth harmonic component of x of t. K can be anything. It can be 1, 2, 3, so on like that. If it is 1, then you can call it as first harmonic component. If it is 2, then you can call it as the second harmonic component. If k is 3, then you can call it as third harmonic component. That means try to understand what will happen. This is most important thing. The moment when you substitute here k equal to 0, then automatically this term and all this becomes 0. Cos 0 you can write as 1. So when you k equal to 0, you'll get DC, this part. Then k equal to 1. So when you consider k equal to 1, then you are going to write C1 cos omega naught t minus theta 1. So since now if you substitute k equal to 2, then you'll get, since it is summation, C1 cos omega naught t minus theta 1. And if you take k equal to 2, then you can write C2 cos 2 omega naught t minus theta 2. So that the moment when you take different values of k, you can write C1 cos omega naught t minus theta 1 plus C2 cos 2 omega naught t minus theta 2 plus C3 cos 3 omega naught t minus theta 3, so on up to infinity you have to write. That if you observe all the frequency components, so out of all this, what is the least frequency component? Tell me. Omega naught is least, 2 omega naught is least, or 3 omega naught is least. Take any value of omega naught. Which is the least value? Please post it in the chat box. When you expand the summation series, C1 cos omega naught t, C2 cos 2 omega naught, like that you are going to get. You have omega naught, 2 omega naught, 3 omega naught, 4 omega naught, so on up to infinite terms. Out of all this, which is the least frequency component? Please post it in the chat box. Which one is giving the least frequency component? Yeah, 420. Can you please tell me? 420. When you expand this equation, by taking different values of k, starting from k equal to 1 to infinity, you'll get C1 cos omega naught t, C2 cos 2 omega naught t, so on like that you'll get. So you'll get omega naught, 2 omega naught, 3 omega naught, so that up to infinite omega naught. All these omega naught terms, if you compare, which is giving the least frequency component? 420, are you there in the in today's class? 420. CR, please respond. 420 ఉన్నారండి ఇవాళ? 420, please answer the question. 420. ఈ ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ కాంపోనెంట్స్ లో ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేసినప్పుడు, ఆ సమ్మేషన్ సిరీస్ ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేసినప్పుడు ఏ కాంపోనెంట్ లీస్ట్ ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ కాంపోనెంట్ వస్తుంది? సిఆర్, ఆర్ యు దేర్? యా, 420 రాలేదమ్మా, ఇవాళ జాయిన్ అవ్వలేదా క్లాస్ లో? 420, ప్లీజ్ రెస్పాండ్. ఓకే, 405, ప్లీజ్ టెల్ మీ. 405. ఈ సమ్మేషన్ సిరీస్ ని ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఒమేగా నాట్, 2 ఒమేగా నాట్, 3 ఒమేగా నాట్ అట్లా వస్తుంది కదా, అట్లా n నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ వస్తాయి. ఏ కాంపోనెంట్ ఒమేగా నాట్ లీస్ట్ వాల్యూ ఇస్తుందా, 2 ఒమేగా నాట్ లీస్ట్ వాల్యూ ఇస్తుందా, 3 ఒమేగా నాట్, n ఒమేగా నాట్ లీస్ట్ వాల్యూ ఇస్తుందా? ఏ వాల్యూ లీస్ట్ వాల్యూ ఇస్తుంది? Who will tell you? Please post in the chat box. Who will tell you? Yeah, 454. Please tell. 454. Omega naught term least value istunda, 2 omega naught term least value istunda, 3 omega naught istunda. So it all depends on omega naught, right? Even if omega naught, whatever value of omega naught it is having, but the one which is multiplying, which is simply omega naught, which is giving the least frequency component or least harmonic component, that's why we call it as omega naught as the fundamental frequency component. Please try to understand. Omega naught is the least frequency component or the fundamental frequency component. Is it clear? Is the concept clear? Please post it in the chat box. Is the concept clear to all of you? Please post it in the chat box. So the class should be interactive. Please try to understand it. మా ఇప్పటి వరకు చెప్పిన కాన్సెప్ట్ అర్థమైందా లేదా? హార్మోనిక్ ఫోరియర్ సిరీస్, ప్లీజ్ రెస్పాండ్. ఓకే ఓకే, జ్యోతి, గుడ్ గుడ్ గుడ్. భవ్య, రైట్. ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు the next part. Now observe it. Now observe this harmonic components. Here we represent C0, Ck. This we are going to represent in terms of A0, An and Bn also, or A0, Ak and Bk. Now observe it. The coefficients Ck and angles theta k are called the harmonic amplitudes and phase angles respectively, and they are related by the Fourier series coefficients. These Fourier series coefficients Ak and Bk, they are trigonometric Fourier series coefficients. Please try to understand. And C0, which you can write as A0 by 2, Ck, which is nothing but square root of Ak square plus Bk square, which is nothing but the magnitude part. Theta, which is nothing but tan inverse of B by A, which is nothing but the phase part. So this capital Ck represents the amplitude of the harmonic component coefficient, and theta k is the phase angle. And now observe it. That means if I know A0, Ak, An and Bn, I can find harmonic Fourier series or exponential Fourier series also very easily. But don't think that that and this are exponential Fourier series and these are same. They are different. In exponential Fourier series, we are going to represent each and every term in terms of exponentials. In harmonic Fourier series, we are going to represent all the terms in sine, with respect either in sine or cos, but we're not using both the terms. That is the only difference. We are using either sine or cos, but with phase variation. That is the difference between harmonic Fourier series and trigonometric Fourier series. Please try to understand. That means here we discussed three types of Fourier series now. One is trigonometric Fourier series. There we are going to represent the coefficients and the function either in terms of uh, sine and cos, and the scaling factors are the coefficients are a naught an and bn, or a naught ak and bk. And in exponential Fourier series, we are going to represent the function in terms of exponentials, and we are going to use ck. And that exponential Fourier series, when you use exponential Fourier series, your summation will exist from minus infinity to plus infinity. Please keep this point in mind. Whenever we use exponential Fourier series, exponential Fourier series, your summation will starts from minus infinity and ends at infinity. When you use the other series like trigonometric or harmonic Fourier series, just it will exist from 1 to infinity only, and we have separate value. So please try to understand the difference between trigonometric Fourier series, exponential Fourier series, and harmonic Fourier series. Right now, the next concept which I'm going to discuss in today's class is convergence of Fourier series. Now, please try to understand the meaning of convergence. Convergence is nothing but existence or to be there. So, it is known that periodic signal x of t has a Fourier series representation that we already know. If it satisfies the following conditions, these conditions was given by a scientist named as Dirichlet, and we can call these conditions as Dirichlet conditions also. Sometimes they will call convergence of Fourier series, or sometimes they ask you as Dirichlet Fourier series. Both means the same. Now, uh, what are those conditions? The first condition is x of t is absolutely integrable over any period. That means whatever function that we have that is given to us, it is absolutely integrable, and when you integrate it, it should give certain return value, right? That value should always be less than infinity. That is the first condition. And second condition is x of t, the function which you are going to consider, the function which is given to us, should have finite number of maximas and minimas within any finite interval. If you take any finite interval, any duration, it should have certain maximas and minimas. That is the next condition. And the third condition is x of t has finite number of discontinuities. Now, please try to understand. Discontinuities means you should not have the same value, you should vary. Discontinuities within the finite interval, and each of these discontinuities is finite. So every discontinuity, that means, so one cycle it is positive, another cycle it is negative, like that. That is what the meaning for discontinuity. And each of these discontinuities should be finite. Now, note that these three Dirichlet conditions are sufficient, but not necessary conditions for Fourier series representation. Please try to understand. Even though any functions of t satisfying these conditions or these Dirichlet conditions, the Fourier series will exist. But if every function, any function which is any function that is given to you should satisfy these conditions. Even if it is not satisfying that, even the Fourier series will exist in some cases. So the note that the Dirichlet conditions are not are sufficient, but not the necessary conditions for the Fourier series to exist. Please try to understand. So please try to understand this. Now, come to the amplitude and phase spectra of a signal. signal. Now, please try to understand if any function, any function that is represented in time domain can be represented in terms of magnitude and phase. Please hold on. Yeah, I have called, just that's the reason I asked you to hold on. Now, any function x of t can be represented by Fourier series coefficients. Maybe it may be a complex Fourier series, or if it is complex Fourier series, or trigonometric Fourier series, or anything. Now we'll start with the complex Fourier series. Let us assume the complex Fourier series coefficient Ck, which you can write it as like this. This Ck can be represented in terms of magnitude as well as phase. So when you represent modulus, this modulus, which you can call it as the amplitude part, and phase part is to be taken care by this phi k, or exponential part, e power j phi k. So a plot modulus of Ck versus angular frequency omega e squared. That means if I plot on x-axis, if I take omega, and if I on y-axis, if we take modulus of Ck, then we call that as the amplitude spectra. If we take on x-axis omega and on y-axis it is phi k, then we call it as phase spectra. 1 minute. Now you may ask, how we will get this Ck? So when you take the Fourier series, when you take an example, you'll understand this. So you can plot the magnitude spectra, as well as you can also find the phase spectra. Amplitude spectra can also be called as magnitude spectra, right? And when you plot these spectras, how they will be, whether they are continuous or not continuous. Now please see. So since the index k, the amplitude and phase spectra are not continuous curves, but appear only at discrete frequencies, k omega naught. That means you will get, when you plot the graph of the amplitude and phase spectra, you are going to get the discrete graph, like lines, like discrete signal, which we discussed in the first unit. Like that, you are going to get those spectras are known as the amplitude and phase spectra. Anyway, we'll take some example and you will understand that. Now, for real periodic signal, it satisfies this condition, which you already know. C star of k, which is equal to C minus k. That is, Ck is the complex exponential signal, and Ck star is the complex conjugate of that. Then it becomes C minus k. So if you take the amplitude part, C minus k is equal to C modulus of Ck. This is what the amplitude part. And for phase, if you take phi minus k, it is equal to minus phi k. This is what the relation between the variation between amplitude and phase. Hence, the amplitude spectrum always, if you take, is an even function, whereas the phase spectrum, which is satisfying this condition, phi k and phi minus k, they are not same, but Ck and C minus k, they are same. So amplitude spectrum is an even function, whereas phase spectrum is an odd function. Please try to understand. This is important. right? So that is how we are going to use this. Now coming to the next slide. Then once if you know the Fourier series of a signal or a function, you can find the power of that signal also. You know the formula for power, which we already discussed in the previous class or the previous unit, that is first unit, power and energy of signal. Now the average power of a periodic signal x of t over any period, which you can write it as p equal to 1 by t integral 0 to t x of t. Now, if I know x of t and if I know the period, directly I can calculate this. Suppose if x of t is represented by a complex exponential series, then Fourier series complex, then it can be shown that you will get this thing which is same as the sum of its amplitude spectra. So whatever sum that you are going to do here, if you sum it all the values, that gives your power. So this is very good. This relation, which we can call it as Parseval's theorem or Parseval's identity. So, but most of the times, if it is a complex signal, it's very difficult to find this using this formula. But you can find the Fourier complex exponential Fourier series for that. So when you find that, automatically, if you sum all the values, then that is same as this integration, which means that if you integrate over the area is same as the summation of all the cells. That's what it is. This concept is known as this relation is given by Parseval, and this identity, which you can call it as Parseval's identity. So please try to understand this. Right now, I'm going to start the to solve some problems. Now see this using the orthogonality condition. Now the first, please all of you please take a notebook and start writing this. Those who are not written, please note down. Those who are writing already, don't worry. Some of you are not writing. I think for them, I'm telling this. Now, using the first problem is using the orthogonality condition, derive the complex Fourier series coefficients. Now try to understand. Now we derived the formula in the yesterday in the previous slide. We discussed that CK equal to, we have the formula and all that. Now we are going to find the formula for the how to find the coefficient for that. There is a derivation, small derivation for that. Now, how to find this derivation? You need to start with the orthogonality condition and you need to derive the complex Fourier series coefficient. So that means you take x of t equal to the sigma k equal to minus infinity plus infinity, all that. This is the this is the formula for the exponential Fourier series. Please try to note down x of t. If x of t is a periodic signal with period t naught, then the complex Fourier series is given by this. X of t equal to sigma k equal to minus infinity to plus infinity ck e power jk omega naught t, and omega naught, which you can write it as 2 pi by t naught. Now what you have to do is you have to multiply both sides by e power minus j m omega naught t first. You multiply both sides by e power minus j m omega naught t and then integrate the result from t naught to, this is the duration of the pair, initial value, and this is the final value, t naught to t naught plus t capital T naught. That means why we you may have a doubt, why I am not using 0. I don't know. When you're considering that t naught may be 0 sometimes, then some for certain problems t naught may be pi, or some problems t naught may be 2 pi. We don't know. That's the reason I'm not going to consider 0 to t naught. So I have to consider small t naught to t and the t naught can be, small t naught can be any value. It may be 0 or it may be pi, it may be 2 pi or anything. And capital T naught is the period. Again, the capital T naught, after capital T naught, what will happen? The same waveform is repeating again. So this is the condition for the periodicity. So You have to integrate from T naught to T naught plus T naught, and you have to multiply with e power minus j n omega t. When you do that, so multiplication with the exponential term and then integration. So this term can be replaced like this. This term can be replaced it like this, and this again you can write as it is, and this you can rearrange it. Then since it is exponential, I can sum it up all this, and now try to understand this equation reduces like this. Now you can have the same equation, this part is same. Now this part, observe it, when you do all this exponential, all that, you're going to get cos or sine, something like that. You're going to get when you integrate all this and over the limits t to t naught plus 2, you'll get some constant, and that constant is to be multiplied with this period. Since we have this capital T naught, so that can be replaced, this summation and all that can be replaced with a variable known as Cm. Please try to understand. So when you integrate this over the limits, you'll get some scaling factor, some constant, and certain value of T naught also. That T naught is this, and this scaling, this scaling factor multiplied this k and summation, that we can, entire term can be replaced by Cm. Since you know on the other side also we have m, that's the reason we replace this with Cm. So from this you can write, so changing index m to k. So since we are calculating Ck, you are just changing this, then automatically you have this formula. So that's how you can find this. But we shall mostly use the following. Instead of generally we are going to use the waveform may exist from 0 to t naught or minus t naught by 2 t naught by 2. So this t naught I can write as 0, and automatically 0 to t naught this becomes. And if t naught is minus t naught by 2, then it becomes minus t naught by 2 to t naught by 2. So this is how you can find this complex Fourier coefficient Ck. So just see, it's very simple. Just you remember the formula for the complex exponential Fourier series, and from that you are going to derive, you are going to multiply both sides with e power minus the same term, exponential term with an opposite phase, complex exponential term, complex conjugate of the exponential term, and then integrate over t naught, small t naught to t naught plus capital T naught. This one. Then when you simplify it, you'll get the formula for Ck. I think this is a here I have each and every step is there, which you can understand very easily. I think, I hope. Then now observe this another question. Derive the trigonometric Fourier series from the complex exponential Fourier series. Now please try to understand. In this example, they asked us to derive the trigonometric Fourier series from exponent complex. So either from trigonometric to complex is possible, complex to trigonometry is also possible. But he has asked us to start with the complex trigonometry, complex Fourier series or a complex exponential Fourier series, and from that we need to, he has asked us to derive trigonometric Fourier series. Now see, observe it. So what we know the formula for complex exponential Fourier series like this: x of t equal to sigma k equal to minus infinity to plus infinity Ck e power jk omega naught t. This is known to you. Now what we have written here is, first you break this summation. Since this summation is existing from minus infinity to plus infinity, but when you see the trigonometric Fourier series, your trigonometric Fourier series starts from dc, then it starts from k equal to 1 to infinity. So that means we need to do some modification on this summation series, right? So what you have to do is, you have to write this summation series like this. Now observe this. When you write this summation series like this is same as this. Please check this. Please post it in the chat box whether this is same as this term or not. The one which I am showing you, this is left side term and this is right side term of x of t. Both are same or different? Please post it in the chat box. Both are same or different? Dear students, please observe that function x of t, whether both are the term which is represented on the right side and the term which is represented on the left side, both are same or they are different. Please post it in the chat box. If they are same, same. You post it in the chat box, same. If they are different, simply post different. Please post it in the chat box. I'm waiting for your answer. In the example, which is discussed here, yes, first we have to write this exponential Fourier series. That is the one which is represented on the left side, this term. This is the complex exponential Fourier series, and this is what the expanded one. Whether this and this are same, they are different. Please post it in the chat box. If it is yes, please post yes in the chat box or same. If they are not same, please post no, they are not same. Yeah, I'm waiting for your answer. Please check it and tell me. I'm waiting for your answer. Please respond, my dear students. Different. Yeah. Swati, different. Observe that equation carefully. This shows how strong you are in mathematics. This shows how strong you are in mathematics. It's a simple thing. It's a challenge to all of you. This shows how strong you are in mathematics. Not different. Yeah, Sridevi. Good. So, okay, the answer given by Sridevi is right. Both are same. Congratulations, Sridevi. Good. Please try to understand this equation carefully. You are telling, most of you are telling that different. I'm not criticizing any one of you. Just observe this. This summation, I can write like this: minus infinity to minus 1. I can write, right? And 0 I'll take separately, and 1 to infinity I can write, right? So if you take 0, then what will happen? E power 0 is 1 and C naught, right? That is what this. If you substitute k equal to 0, then it becomes C naught. If k equal to 1, then you will get C1, C2, so on up to all the terms. Then you will get Ck. If you take k equal, then minus values also you will get, right? That is nothing but, as I said, k equal to 1, Ck and C minus k, both are the same, but the only difference is here k is positive, here k is negative. So that's the reason they consider C minus k and exponential term also minus. So please try to understand, this is same as this. The right side term is same as the left side term. Then using using Euler's formula, which you already know, Euler's formula, e power j theta, jk theta you can write as cos theta plus j sin theta. Here we have e power jk omega naught t, that you can write as cos k omega naught t plus or minus. Sometimes if it is plus, then you can write plus, and if it is minus, you can write minus, plus or minus j sin k. Now wherever you have exponential term, you replace that with cos and sin. Then when you replace the cos and sin, you take the similar terms on one side, or cos terms on one side and sin terms on the other side. This you can write it as Ck plus C minus K. Already we discussed that. You can write as AK, and Ck minus this you can write as Bk. So that is how you can prove this term. C naught, which you can write as A naught by 2. So I can write the complex exponential Fourier series to trigonometric Fourier series very easily. Hope this concept, is this example clear to all of you? Please post it in the chat box. Is this example clear to all of you? అందరికీ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ క్లియర్ గా అర్థమైందా లేదమ్మా? ఒకసారి చాట్ బాక్స్ లో పోస్ట్ చేయండి అమ్మా, మీకు క్లియర్ గా అర్థమైందా లేదా అనేది. అంటే ఎక్స్పోనెన్షియల్ ఫోరియర్ సిరీస్ నుంచి స్టార్ట్ అయ్యి ట్రిగ్నోమెట్రిక్ ఫోరియర్ సిరీస్ తో ఎండ్ అవుతున్నాం ప్రూవ్ చేయడానికి. అట్లానే ట్రిగ్నోమెట్రిక్ ఫోరియర్ సిరీస్ ఇది తెలిసి దీన్ని తీసుకొని ఇది కూడా ప్రూవ్ చేయమని అడగచ్చు. ప్లీజ్ ట్రై టు అండర్స్టాండ్. Is the concept clear? Is the example clear to all of you? Or shall I repeat it once again? Please post it in the chat box. ఎగ్జాంపుల్ క్లియర్ గా అర్థమైందా లేకపోతే ఇంకోసారి ఎగ్జాంపుల్ రిపీట్ చేయమంటారు చెప్పమంటారా? చాట్ బాక్స్ చెప్పండి అమ్మా, ఫాలో అవ్వగలుగుతున్నా, అర్థమైందా లేదా? Please post it in the chat box. Is this example clear to all of you? Please post it in the chat box. Is this example clear to all of you? Clear? మా ఈ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ అందరికీ అర్థమైందా లేదా? చాట్ బాక్స్ లో ఒకసారి పోస్ట్ చేయండి అమ్మా. Yeah, okay. So what I'll do is, with this in today's class I'm going to stop here, and tomorrow's class what I am going to do is I'm going to solve the problems on, in tomorrow's class I'm going to solve the problems on exponential Fourier series as well as trigonometric Fourier series, both, right, which we'll see in the next class. So with this I'm going to conclude for today's class. If you have any queries or any doubts,